Got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you. According to ESPN, football is slowly starting to become one of America's most favorite sports. And that's how they do because of the 90s. The 90s were very important years for the NFL. The game so far became safer, it got a different look, and as new teams wanted to find different places to go. And I'm going to explain this in 3 different parts. The first one's going to be from 1990 to 1993, 1994 to 1995, and finally from 96 to the present. Many people believe that NFL football is a very violent sport. But if you look in the past, football was worse than that. People really was trying to rip your head off. So the commissioner at the time wanted to change the culture of that. So all them changes started in about 1990. And the first change was the NFL draft. At the time, juniors wasn't allowed to declare early. And that became a problem because juniors, there was a lot of talented juniors that career got ended because they couldn't leave early. So the commissioner allowed juniors to start playing. Declare for the draft early. Another one was, it created a lot of excitement, was the commissioner also added 2 additional teams to the wild card rounds, which made the playoff a lot longer, which made the season longer, which of course that fans loved that. Just the enjoyment to have football around in late October and December. And so the commissioner didn't stop there. In about 1991, he decided he wanted 2 more teams to NFL. So it was going to be 2 additional teams to this. So it went from 92 teams to 31 teams. And all the cities wanted to get in on this. So every city sent in a proposal. And about 1992, they found 5 finalists for the 2 new teams. The first finalist was Baltimore. The next one was Charlotte, Jacksonville, Memphis, and St. Louis. But before I get into the 5 finalists, there's about 4 things you need to know that happened that led to this. The Rams didn't start off in LA. They actually was in Cleveland and moved to Los Angeles. The Baltimore Colts moved to Indianapolis. The St. Louis Cardinals moved to Arizona to finally become the Phoenix. And finally, the Raiders moved from Oakland to LA. So that was kind of started the movement of getting 2 new teams. And so start off with my 5 finalists. Baltimore wanted their team to be called the Bombers. So, and of course, Charlotte wanted the Panthers. Jacksonville wanted the Jaguars. Memphis wanted their team to be called the Hound Dogs. And finally, St. Louis wanted their team to be called the Stallions. And at the time, St. Louis was actually the favorite of getting a new team. Because also in 1992, the mayor of St. Louis sent out a request for New England Patriots, which eventually, of course, they turned them down, but went on, and about 1993, they declared the 2 winners, which was, of course, the Panthers and the Jaguars, was the 2 winners of the whole ordeal. So into 1990 and 1993, there was a lot that happened, but it also made the game a little bit safer. All these rules came up in a book by Bob Carl. His book was named The Total Football, and he got all the rules set up. And in that time span, unnecessary roughness got into play, which was very weird. But they legalized that. Illegal forward pass, because there was a few quarterbacks that wanted to throw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, so they actually made that a rule. Defenders jumping off sides, because they didn't call that at first. A defender jumped off sides and the offensive guy moved, they really didn't too much call it. The other one, they removed instant replay. They had it, it wasn't as effective at the time, so they just got rid of it completely. And finally, the chop block, the running backs chopping the defensive lineman low. They got rid of that. So then, I was about in 1994, it was a very, very special year for players, coaches, and fans. It was the 75-year anniversary for them. And to honor that, they made an all-time team of the past 75 players. And they honored them by creating banners and stuff for them. Also, they legalized the throwback jerseys. This is when teams start to run throwback jerseys, which was very interesting because to me, some of them was pretty ugly. But they still legalized it. And that's when they find the Phoenix. The name was the Phoenix Cardinals, which kind of created some problems. So they changed their name to Arizona to involve the whole state. So, and now to my favorite year, which was 1995. That's when teams really wanted to find a new home for themselves. So, to start off in 1995, the original Cleveland Browns team actually moved to Baltimore to become the Ravens. LA Rams moved to St. Louis to become the St. Louis Rams, and Oakland moved from LA back to Oakland. And that created a lot of things. It made the league a little bit uneven, but they still kept with it. 1996 and 1997 was actually very, very relaxed. Only thing that really happened in those 2 years was, of course, the Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee to come to Nashville, Tennessee, which later in 1999 became the Titans. And of course now, Houston is the new team, and is the new team in 2002. So the league definitely have involved, and NFL so far have done a great job. And I still believe that in the 90s was a great stride for them. And NFL still have a lot more to do, but without the 90s, who knows what the NFL would have looked like. That's my speech. Thank you.